I am welcoming Marco Colleta, a candidate for regional councillor. Hello, Marco.
Hi, Marge. Thank you for having me tonight.
You're very welcome. Marco, I'm looking forward to hearing the responses to some questions I have sent you. I'm asking you to respond to each question within 2 minutes. Our first question: how would you describe the value of our heritage, and how would you like to see Richmond Hill's 150th anniversary celebrated next year?
So, when we're talking about our heritage, there's two ways to think about it. Are we talking about our, British North American heritage, or are we talking about our more recent heritage in the last 100 years, where we see a lot of immigration? My family is originally from Italy. They came in the 50s, so my heritage is as children of immigrants. I would like to see that on display. About how this town grew from a very strict kind of English, Scottish, Irish heritage into now a very multicultural heritage, beginning with Southern Europeans and now Southeast Asians and Chinese immigrants and Korean immigrants. All of this is part of our heritage. The other thing I would like to add, let's go before our colonial heritage and start adding in, the First Nations people. I mean, we have to remember that the original land that Richmond Hill occupies was part of the Haudenosaunee lands of the Iroquois. We called the Iroquois Confederation. Even though there was no permanent settlement in this area, it was still used by migratory people for hunting and gathering in that sense. So we should be remembering that heritage as well, not just our kind of British North American heritage. This is very much a what they call a pastiche of culture and idea that comes together in this area.
Very good. Thank you very much for that answer. Second question: the majority of Richmond Hill residents are very car dependent. This has us with a large carbon footprint and thus contributing to the degradation of our environment. Do you see us resigned to live like this? Would you support changes to the municipal zoning rules to permit non-residential uses in areas that are now strictly residential? Should new subdivisions be designed differently?
So let me start right off the bat by saying when we're talking about rezoning, I am not in favor of rezoning any area that is slated as conservation or protected under the Oak Ridges Moraine Conservation Act. That is a absolute no-go. I will not move on it. I will not compromise on that. There's no reason for us to be making compromises on that. And when we talk about transportation and the environmental impact of the amount of cars we have, that is a huge concern because right now, in terms of the way our city's been planned and the current planning that's being forced on us by the provincial government, we are turning into a feeder community for Toronto and Mississauga. And if that's the way that we're going, then yes, we are resigned to this idea of being in a car 8 hours a day and increasing our carbon footprint for as long as we're using internal combustion engines. The There has been, this push to bring in more transit, but as someone myself who, didn't have a car till age 30, I can tell you that I won't go back to public transit unless it becomes more efficient and more affordable. And I don't see that happening. I mean, we call it public transit, but it's for-profit transit. Public transit would be free. Public transit would be much more efficient. We would have it going to more places. Because it's for profit, only lines that are profitable get serviced, and the costs go up for profit reasons, not for reasons of making it better. And then we come to the idea of the subway. Yes, do we need a subway here? Yes, that would be integral to helping the transit. But putting a train line, a subway line from Finch to Highway 7 doesn't help with traffic, doesn't help with commutes. It simply moves traffic up, 3 city blocks. If we were really serious about changing transit, we would be talking about a subway plan going to Newmarket. We would be talking about, really lowering the price of Viva and York Region Transit, maybe even subsidizing it completely where it's free. If you want to get people out of their cars, you have to make it as more affordable than driving a car, more convenient than driving a car, and more efficient. And right now, none of that is really a plan that anyone's talking about.
Very good. Thank you, Marco. Third question. What do you see as Richmond Hill's vulnerabilities?
Well, I mean, I touched a bit on that already. The fact that we are turning into a feeder community. But if we're going to expand on that, we are turning into a feeder community where only the rich can afford housing. Everyone else is, a rent slave, if for lack of a better word. I mean, if you want to live here in this town as a renter, and as a renter, I know this, you're going to be paying, on average, between 40 and 60% of the average wage to live in a basement, or if you're lucky enough to rent a condo. That's not sustainable. That's not a population that is going to create a better and more diverse community. I mean, you can already look at places like Ward 2, which are suffering from high prices, but are filled with low-income renters who don't have the jobs to sustain themselves or the educational opportunities. And that's driving crime, that's driving poverty, that's driving drug use. And a lot of these communities, a lot of these lower income communities, which exist in every ward, are getting upset at each other instead of getting upset at the way we've built this town and how we are interacting with each other as residents.
Very good. Thank you, Marco. Fourth question. Imagine there was a lottery for municipalities and Richmond Hill won $50 million. How would you like to see that spent?
Oh boy. I mean, we say $50 million as if that's a lot of money when it comes to municipality. Pie in the sky, I'd like us to either buy a bunch of condo units and start using them for rent to be, market rate, and then use the income from that market rate to start funding affordable housing. Alternatively, we could use it to buy back land or, create grants for co-ops to build more affordable housing in the town. Something to get that affordable housing going. That would really be my goal with that kind of a budget. And let's be completely honest, $50 million is a drop in the bucket for the affordable housing needs of not only Richmond Hill, but York Region as a whole.
Thank you for that. Okay, let's move into our second portion. I have 7 fun facts about the candidates that are to be answered quickly and with a smile.
Sure.
Okay, are you a tea or coffee drinker?
Tea if I'm given a choice, coffee if I'm going to work in the morning.
Okay. Do you prefer ebooks or real books?
Oh, paper, not even a choice. That's the sacrilege.
Okay. Do you say ketchup or catsup?
With a K, ketchup.
Ketchup, okay. What's your ideal place for a vacation?
Oh, I've had a dream for a long time to get a vacation to go to a hot spring in Japan, volcanic hot spring.
Okay. Do you have a Mac or a PC?
PC, and I build my own.
Ooh. What is your favorite vegetable?
Broccoli.
Broccoli. Have you ever played pickleball?
I don't think I've reached that age yet, so
Okay.
and I think I might have to take up bocce ball first. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Marco, for engaging in these candidate conversations. I wish you very well with this campaign.
Well, thank you very much for having me.